I want to start off by saying, Ricardo and I worked together at Los Angeles County for a couple of years, and we were always dreaming up our get rich quick scheme. How we gonna get out from underneath the man? My idea was TorkStrap, and Ricardo, being the horse guy that he is, he had a grand idea for these modular horse stables. But take me back, Ricardo. What's your background in equine, and how did this come up?
Yeah, so, back then when I was working with you, I was also importing the horses from, all over the world.
Holland and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Actual horses you're
importing?
importing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was bringing them in through, like these cargo planes. They would bring them in like kind of like safe equine containers or something like that. So I went out there a few times. I met with some breeders in the Netherlands, some in Spain, and then also in Costa Rica. So I was importing and exporting the horses. I would bring them in here, and, I would have clients that were asking me to kind of find the horses for them. So once they got here, they were already technically sold. The problem I was having was there was a lot of incidents where the animals were getting hurt in the stables that I was having them in. And like one of the horses I brought in managed to kick through one of the stables and got his foot caught up in the wood. It kind of tore a ligament in his hind leg. After that, I had to take all the hit on the, economical, on the financial side of it.
Yeah.
So I had to take the hit. I had to keep the horse and try to figure out how to help him. The veterinary cost was so expensive. I lost way too much money, and this wasn't the first time. I also brought in a few young stallions. I guess they'd never been in stables that were that, cheaply made. We went out for a ride one day, came back 20 minutes later, and the horse had his neck caught up in one of the stables. He had snapped his neck through the door, like the gate. And,
Jesus.
So it was too many accidents, and
This was during the shipping, what they were putting them in for?
No, the shipping was totally fine. It was once I was getting them to places where I was holding them. Like they had like quarantine places sometimes because they have to go through a quarantine process. And some of these stables, they were just, they're made out of like scrap metal. Some people just put whatever they can together, or either that or they're just really old and they have like, I have a bunch of pictures and videos of stuff that's, I don't know if you can put clips in here. It's pretty graphic, but
yeah, maybe send them to me later.
I'll send them to you and you decide. But
yeah,
the injuries were just so severe. It's like, it was mainly for the safety of the animals. And, I started designing this new modular horse stable for the portability aspect, because not everyone can afford to keep land like that. Some people rent, so you don't want to build a $20,000 barn and then just leave it there for the owner. So some people want to pack up and take their stuff with them, but mostly for the safety of the animals. These animals were some, deaths and injuries, infections, so much stuff that can happen. So
yeah,
that's kind of how it all started out.
And nobody was filling that gap from what you saw? Nobody providing a safe...
I had been to several ranches and, I've been around horses my whole life. So, it mostly was just, people putting their own stuff together. Over time, the horses kick, the stuff rust. They'll have like little metal things sticking out and they can get caught up on. I've seen horses that got their whole hind like cut open. They have meat hanging out just from a little snag of metal where they get caught up on it. And a horse feels it. They start reacting, kicking, jumping, and it just slaughters the horse. Like,
so what
really
makes
bad.
your stables different than your average stable? Is it
so we kind of like we really focused on the safety. So we used a lot of to prevent rust. We do pre-galvanized steel to prevent from rust. Mm-hmm. Then we also powder coat it so it has double protection to prevent from, the rust and getting them like any type of infection from that or any cuts. Our welders are pretty good. They try their best. I started off doing these things in my backyard and it was just way too much. I can handle that much.
And did you actually sell some of the homemade ones you had in your backyard?
Yes, okay. I had about maybe 2 orders of the ones I did in my backyard.
Okay.
But it wasn't gonna happen.
just couldn't-
It was too much. I can't handle it in my backyard. So I started doing them here in the U.S. I found a group of welders that were welding them for me, and it was too slow. It wasn't fast enough. I was getting too many orders. Grant knows I had this problem where I had not enough supply. People were coming to check out the product and wanted it now, but I would have to make them wait. It wasn't working out. So that's why Grant suggested I outsource them to China. So now he's been helping me through that.
Yeah.
And we got the ball rolling. We got a large order coming in soon. So
That's amazing. That's super exciting. And have you taken pre-orders for your product, or are you just kind of
yes,
leap of faithing it? Both, but
it's both.
Right.
Yeah. It's I get a variety of things. People come in and they check it out, and I get a lot of people that want to buy and buy now. And if I don't have the product, they just
Ghost
they
out.
don't want to wait. So they just
That's
they don't
with
say
anything.
that, but they say, "Oh, we'll call you back," and they take off. And then I get those tire kickers that come in, just oh, it looks nice, it looks good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get like a few of those. And they just never come back. So
Yeah.
I think my problem is I'm getting to the wrong market. Maybe I'm not marketing it right. And that's what, I'm working on. And, Grant's been helping me with that. And, we've been shooting commercials and stuff. So,
What's
slowly
cool,
getting there.
What's cool, I mean, you're also very specific in like the horse community. It's massive, but it's also pretty specific, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like that modular design and it can be used almost like for anything, for big kennels, for other animals,
That's the thing. We started off for the horses, but it's generally for agricultural use. I mean, all type of animals.
Right.
You can put goats, chickens,
Yeah.
cattle, whatever you want in there. And so now we're actually designing a dog kennel because a lot of the people that have been inquiring about the product
You have this.
have been asking, hey, can I put dogs in there? I was like,
Yeah.
well, you can put whatever you want, but this is a little oversized for a dog. you
Yeah.
know? So we started designing a dog kennel, which my first sample will be coming in about 30 days. So
That's awesome. And
we'll
is
see how
that
comes
basically
out.
the same thing but smaller?
It's the same thing, but smaller, and it's also the same modular design. Another good thing about our product, I know you said what is different about it, the infill material we use. Most of the stables I've seen, they either have like this aluminum, like a metal, like a sheet metal, and that over time with the horse kicks, because horses will kick the thing, it'll get little sharp, jagged edges, and that's where the injuries come in, as well as the wood. The wood will rot. It's not good with, the weather conditions.
So you've dumbed down a lot of the classic sharp-edged places on
Yes,
typical
so
metal.
we try to make it so that they don't get injured. We try our best. Still, they'll find a way. They're like kids, those damn horses.
Well, and the truth
they'll
is,
find a way.
you don't know what you don't know until it gets out there,
Yeah.
and somebody's like, "Oh, this is a little too high," or
Yeah.
"Oh, this gap is a little," and then you can make the next batch just a little bit different. Right?
Yeah, see, that's one thing we did run into. I did make a sale somewhere. I forget where it was. I've had a few now, but it was in an area where it snowed, and I was using this type of roofing. It was like those sheet, like a sheet roof
Corrugated
sheets.
type of sheet,
those
yeah.
corrugated type. But it was like out of some plastic material, but it wasn't weatherproof or something.
Okay.
So it froze.
Oh.
It somehow froze, and then an icicle or a branch, she said,
Cracked it?
fell on it, and it cracked it, fell right through. And I was like, well, shoot, there you go. That's one of the things we got to look into. So
Yeah.
we modified that. We talked to the supplier. They found us the right type of product now, so we changed it. And it's those type of things, you do trial and error, and you figure it out as you go.
I think it's a really good thing to bring up. We talk about it a lot. Like it's so easy to overthink things and to sit there with a piece of paper and try to figure it out and figure out what happens and what may happen. You would have never thought about it's going to get cold, icicle is going to break it. You would have never ever pre-problem solve that.
Yeah.
And so out there for all of us overthinkers in this thing, just get into it.
Yeah.
You'll learn so damn quick from your first X amount of customers that like my big thing, I have now a decent demand for people who want mine to open bigger because they have thicker decking.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so like, sure enough, great. That's my next thing for me to tackle. But I wouldn't have, the average deck is this. that's what I've tested it on. Why would I start overthinking about that? And you shouldn't.
Yes, and that type of feedback is great because
It's amazing.
It'll expand your business and it can better your business at the same time.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, customers are the best quality control agents money can buy.
Yeah.
Good or bad, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're engineers. They're all the above.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they don't want anything in return except for a little bit of satisfaction.
Yeah.
So when you started this this idea, I know, but I'm going to lead you with the question because we're friends. But when you started this idea, like a lot of people, you thought, well, I have an idea for horse stables. I wonder if I can make it myself and sell it myself on Craigslist and make a quick $1,500, $2,000, right? It's kind of like the garage sale mentality of it. But you and I have been working on how do we scale this to where you're not sweating and grunting, but you're working on the business, not in the business. So what was your first inclination? Like, how am I going to do this? Just me, Ricardo, making these compared to like what you're thinking now?
Well, you know how it went. We used to be at work and I was like, man, I could just make these. I think I'm just going to start making them. And I did. I took some time off work. I hired a buddy of mine that said he was a welder.
Everybody's a welder.
Everybody's a welder.
No, this guy nearly killed us when he was welding. I didn't know you couldn't weld with like a certain type of gas. Apparently he went to school for this, and I don't know how he went to school and passed because he was welding with some type of gas. And now my neighbor behind me, he's a real welder. He does that for a living. And we were welding and this thing blows up.
What
like
blew
it makes
up?
Like the tank makes this big old noise. The handle like pops off. What? And I'm like, dude, what happened? And he's like, I don't know. I think there's a clogger. It's probably clogged or something. I'm like, dude, you're a welder. Like, you're supposed to know what's going on. I was like, let me go ask my neighbor. I asked my neighbor, and he's like, what the hell are you guys doing? If this thing were to combine the gas that's in the machine and the gas that's in that tank, this whole house would be blown up. I was like, dude, okay, this is it. We're not doing this anymore. Yeah. He's like, and plus, you can't even weld galvanized without breathing. Like, you got to have the right respirator.
How did he even get a hold of the gas? Because that stuff's regulated.
I bought it all.
Oh.
I bought all this stuff. I went to the welding shop. He made me spend hundreds of dollars on.
It's not cheap.
The gas itself, the wire.
Yeah.
I had to buy a welding machine. I was like, oh, we're good. Let's do this. We're going all in, man. And I thought I was just going to be breaking these things out in my backyard. And then when I realized that between me and him, this guy didn't know how to cut a damn piece of metal for his life. And I was like, well, so who's going to cut it? You. So I was like, well, so I had to learn how to cut these damn things, do the degrees, the measurements. I had to write all this stuff down. I had a board where I was like, all right, these have got to be this size. It took us nearly 2 months to finish one stable.
Sure.
And I was like, this ain't going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So
at what point, I mean, that seems like the point, and this might be the answer to the question, but at what point did you realize that this is not sustainable?
That was it. When we were taking the time, it was like way too much time. And I said, this will never work like this. We're taking way too much time. We don't have the space for it here in my backyard. I thought I could do it. And then that's where Grant came in and said, I told you so, man.
It is. I mean, I feel like that whole lesson leading up could be looked at as the precursor to, I could make this better, and we could get better at making these and more efficient. Yeah. But even that wouldn't be close to the upkeep of the demand that you were going to get, right?
Yeah, that was the problem. So, I outsourced it to a company out in Nevada. Mm-hmm. They were making them for me for a little bit, but it was still too slow. It took them a long time. The turnaround time was too long. And I wasn't placing orders for bulk, to have in stock. I was kind of going based off, they came and checked them out. They want 5, 6 of them. Okay, so then I'll call in and have them make me 5 or 6.
Per order.
Then I'll order the material and it'll come in, and then I'll order the bolts when you're ready. And that wasn't working out. Me and Grant found out, I asked Grant for some help, so he started helping me out, and we had a problem. Remember, you said it was a problem, but it was a good problem. We had too much demand and not enough
supply.
Not enough supply.
Always a good problem.
Yeah. So we shot a commercial. And
don't call it a commercial because I don't want to miss. It's just a vertical social media short. That's
and I heard about that.
To me, it was like I kept saying we're going to shoot this commercial. He's like, we're just shooting videos, man. And it was a video that we didn't even expect. You know, he's like, you'll probably get a few views.
I honestly thought you'd get a few thousand views max.
And no, it ended up going pretty viral. It got a lot of views and a lot of inquiries from all over the world. So it was kind of...
He showed me that you got more followers, I think it was in 2 days, than I still have gotten in almost 2 years.
Yeah, I got, I don't remember how many it is now. I have to look back.
That's amazing.
Got so many followers, so many views, so many messages. I couldn't even keep up with it. And then that's when he kind of said, you know, maybe you should put a pause to all this posting because people are coming in and they're coming to check it out. And they were coming almost every week.
Right.
And I stopped scheduling appointments because
you don't have
they wanted the
them.
product now, and I looked bad. I didn't have the product yet, or I could still order it from my team in Nevada, but it was going to take a few weeks, or a month or two. But they didn't want to wait.
I want to play the audio from this video so our viewers can, and also check him out on Instagram, RR Stables X Barnes. He's only got 2 posts, and because of what he just said, the first one went way too viral. Yeah. Let's see if this will work here.
Introducing a modular assortment of stables and accessories designed to fit any need. Current stable options are one-off, permanent, and expensive. So hit up RR Stables for an affordable solution for your horses, and we'll bring it to you.
So that's it. I mean, really kind of straightforward. I know it's a little bit more complex than most people's wheelhouse, but this didn't cost us really any money. Cost me an afternoon, which I was more than happy to give up for a friend.
Thank you for that, Grant.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, we discovered, well, the big question it answered for you, and that was my goal, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I wanted to show you the power of scale and the power of reach with your niche. Because all the time you would come to me and you'd say, man, you know, maybe I should just do real estate. Everybody's buying houses, but only 1 in 500 people are looking for horse stables.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, fool. That's where you need to be then. Yeah. Because everybody wants to be a realtor and everybody has a license and everybody's fighting to get to the top and hunt down listings and that hustle. So niche.
Yeah, you know, and the one thing we both learned, and we've had a couple guests who have been very specific, like you. Horses, I still think is very specific. We have a guy who invented something for the trucking industry, right? A new type of handle, trucking, like truck. But man, you have a loyal following. Right. And so does he. Like the trucking community, he posted one post and it was so simple. And all of a sudden he's getting crazy inquiries and you got to do this. And that's the way to, and we can't wait for you to make this. And he's like, holy crap. Yeah. He's like, and those people are savage for new cool things. And I feel like that's the same for the horse. Horse people have money. Right? Like you don't own horses. Yeah. Well, some
people like to cheap out. Like I said, those stables we would see.
Of course. But overall, you don't own, you got to have land. You got to have big things. I'd like to believe that people who own horses love their horses.
I mean, shoot, just to feed them is expensive.
Yeah. You know? So, I mean, it's awesome.
And people treat their pets like kids, man.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen it. People walking their horses and they'll talk to them like babies, man. Yeah. It's just, they love them. I mean, I love my horses.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a different market, I guess. And I was kind of nervous to do it. I started off just posting off in Facebook Marketplace and offer up, and I would get a few bites here and there. And I would get excited and tell Grant, like, look, people want them. People want them. He's like, dude, you haven't even started yet. And that's what I kept telling him. Should I even do it? Should I even get them? This is a big investment. I mean, my life savings is going to go into this product. And it's a big jump, and it's scary, not everyone... Well, I was still hesitant to do it. Even till this day, I'm still nervous. Right. It's a big jump. And, Grant kind of pushed me. He's like, dude, you know this is going to hit.
Yeah.
You got so many views and so many messages in just one day of posting. Like, imagine if you dedicated full time to this. So let's just see how it goes. And I was like, well, I'm going to pull the trigger on this one. So
yeah, I'd love to hear some of the challenges. Like, my product I can put 100 sets of those into a 30-pound box. It's very small. It's easy.
Oh, yeah.
You have horse stables. Like this is
been a pain.
It's the shipping. But on this end, let's even talk about on your end, like you're going to have to warehouse this stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. So when I first started, I was like, well, I'll just put them in my backyard, or I'll rent like a lot. Remember, Grant, I was telling you, I'm just gonna get a lot out in Norco in Horsetown, and everyone could just pick them up there since everyone's around there has horses, So, but no, that's not gonna happen. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to buy a forklift, and I'm gonna have to rent a crane so they can put it in the back lot, and it's just like. Grant was like, dude, just get a warehouse. They'll do it all for you. And sure enough, I searched around. I had to find a warehouse because these things they're heavy, man. I mean, you saw us struggle for when we filmed that video.
This is each panel?
Yeah.
So what does each panel weigh?
I would say they're from 300 to 400 pounds each.
Oh, a ton. Okay.
Yeah.
Or not
it's
a ton,
all steel,
a lot.
so the steel structure is pretty heavy.
Okay.
And that's also what helps it with the portability and kind of makes it semi-permanent, so it's safe for the animal not to tip that thing.
Well, yeah,
over,
50-pound fence piece is going to get knocked
because
half a mile.
They don't get you don't have to anchor these to the ground. They're not fixed structures, so they come with some pin connectors. You put the 4 walls up, and they hold up on their own because of the weight. So you're looking about well over like more than 1,000 pounds just each stable.
So for other listeners listening who are searching also for stuff like a warehouse, what kind of questions did you need to ask for your product? Like obviously the weight.
The weight, for me, it was so they come palletized somehow. They make these custom pallets with like these steel pallets. They're not your ordinary pallets like wood pallets. So, and they're long. So they're about 12 foot long, and the way they come in the container, they're the 12 feet are going inward, and not any forklift is just going to get it. They had to have the special extended forks, and most of the warehouses I went to didn't have the forks necessary. They said that they would have to ask if they can purchase those forks for me in order to do business with me.
Yeah.
I was like, well, if you're not willing to make the investment, then it's fine. So I found a warehouse that right away said, that's no worries. I have extended forks, and if that's not enough, I'll go buy some. Don't worry about it.
That's awesome.
So I was like, that's the kind of dedication, I want. And he even said, I'll make this whole area in my, I have a lot. He outsources for like some Home Depot type stuff and a bunch of different companies. And he says, I'll save this whole area. I'll give you your own square footage in my warehouse so that it's be dedicated all to you. I'll put your stuff right in the front. Since it's bigger, we'll load it up. I'll take it out to you. And, the cost, they charge just to bring them, since they're so heavy, they charge like in and out fees and all this stuff that I learned.
The warehouse does?
Yeah. And then since they're so heavy, if I just want one panel, it takes about 2 or 3 guys to lift it up. So I had to negotiate the price for them to lift it, put it on a pallet, get my orders, the SKUs, all those things. So that's all stuff I didn't know about. I had to just kind of find out as I go.
Wow.
Learn it all as I was going.
Has that changed the way you're going to sell them? Like there's a two fence minimum, or there's a,
Yeah, no, I'm not selling anything unless it's it has to be one full stable minimum.
Oh, okay.
So a 4-piece.
Yeah.
I understood
unless
that as
it's a
one
returning
piece
client,
okay.
And they're like, hey, one of my panels, or
Well, that's different.
I want another panel. Like, oh, sure, yeah, just come pick up the panel. They can come pick it up themselves, or I can do delivery. If for a new order, I'll do free deliveries within range. But right now I already purchased purchased a big truck, a heavy duty truck, and a really heavy duty trailer. So I'm able to carry a lot of the product and deliver it myself. But to ship like outside of the States, I'm going to have to hire like a big rig or someone to take it.
You having just purchased those items, how far out do you think you're going to be delivering with your truck?
It's hard. I haven't decided how far I had to put that all into my budget.
Of course.
Diesel was expensive, and then carrying that type of weight, the time. Well, I already hired someone to do the deliveries.
Okay.
So I have them waiting for them to get here, and they're kind of on call because it won't be like I'm hoping it'll be a daily thing, but it starts off slow. You got to start somewhere. And I'm hoping that gradually it'll get more active, and maybe I'll hire more people to help me out. But for now, it's just me, my family helping me out. So, the whole warehouse thing was hard. I found them, so I got that all locked in, and it should be getting here soon.
That's exciting. And is your first full shipment coming? Are they already pre-sold, or how much of that is pre-sold?
I would say right now maybe a third, quarter.
So you're going to have a decent amount to still sell.
Yeah. So the good thing is that about I would say maybe half of it, maybe a little more than half, I still have product to sell because it takes a long time for it to get here. It's taken a really long time. I have people waiting, for them to get here. They already left the deposits. They're calling me every week. Hey, is it almost done? Is it almost done? And it's hard dealing with China and them getting them over here. They're taking, there's little details that I don't like and I'm not there. I have to really look into it, and finally got it all squared out, and they're on their way now. So
when you prototype, I would call what you built in your backyard your prototypes, right?
I still have it.
Oh, you still have it. So when you prototyped it, and then once you now are almost finished with getting your first batch from your manufacturer, how close were those two products, or what did you have to change that you didn't know wouldn't be that the manufacturer wouldn't be able to do that you did? Does that make sense?
They were able to hit it right in the nose, almost, pretty much. I sent them videos. Dealing with China, you guys know, they're on a different time frame. I'd be outside in my backyard like a psychopath with flashlights, having my brother hold a flashlight while I'm recording a video because they need to know something right now. I'm trying to record some hinge or something for them at 2-3 in the morning and send them a video so they can see how I want it done. And it's like, well, that's the price of doing business with them, because I had to stay up late and get this all situated. But as far as the design, they pretty much hit it. They did everything the same way I
you liked it. And did they teach you anything? Did you learn anything from them?
They did. They were telling me about weatherproof stuff, and they had different types of bolts they would use for the safety of the animal. And I said, well, you know what? We could change that. Let's use those. If they're, if it's a better price, then fine, just do it. And if it's safe for the animal, that's fine. But some things I just didn't want to cheap out on, like the infill material that I was discussing earlier. We use, I was trying to find a material that would be safe for the animal and hard to break. So we tested that, Grant, with the sledgehammer.
Right.
Had him pound away at it, and it wouldn't break. So we're, so far we've been tested, and it's pretty, it's sustainable. It won't break. We started looking for products back then. Wood wasn't going to do it. We were thinking about some artificial bamboo, but that wasn't really cost effective. And if it's not cost effective for me, it's not cost effective for my clients.
Right.
Or my customers, I'm trying to find the most economical solution for them as well, because that's, everyone doing business, they want the best price. So they want to get anything they can for cheaper. So that was one of the things that we had to focus in our budget. But the Chinese were able to find me a recycled high density polyethylene material. So it's kind of eco-friendly at the same time. So I like that aspect. Everything go green. So
why not?
Yeah. So we ended up getting that type of infill material from them, and we're using that now. So that was one thing that we changed.
Yeah.
And the density of it, all that, Grant was there with me in some of the meetings because I didn't really know how to deal with China. So he was kind of helping me out, getting the ball rolling. And we did a lot of meetings with them, and they kind of discussed other products that they can offer and they can sell to us. So that's kind of how it started off. So
that's a good thing for I know you want to talk to.
At one point today.
For the listeners, just dealing with China, I think the big fear is not knowing how to talk to them and not even know how to get the ball rolling. But do you feel now that you've kind of gotten in the groove of things that things are easier, or what would you say?
With the supplier I'm using now, yes.
Okay.
They're very they already know what they're doing. They know how this thing works. They made me feel more safe. And take in mind, I've been talking to them since me and Grant used to shoot these dreams at work. And, I've been talking to them since then, and they haven't stopped talking to me since, even though I haven't bought a thing. So that kind of gave me that security, because Grant knows one of my biggest fears was like, you always hear about, what if I ship all this money to China and I don't ever see a thing? And we're talking about a large amount of money. These stables are very expensive. And I can't just buy one or two. Just buying one was going to cost me about half the price of buying a full container. So it didn't make any sense. So I had to spend my life savings and invest in this, this dream that, hopefully this product will sell. And so far it has been. And yeah, it was really scary.
Yeah.
I dealt with a lot of suppliers in China. I called a few, and I remember I'd call Grant all the time and bug him and be, hey, look at these guys are telling me they'll sell them to me half the price, but they're kind of shady, huh? I'm telling them if they could show me the warehouse, and they said it's too far away that we have to schedule it. Well, I said, let's schedule it, and they don't schedule it. They send me some old photos from I don't know when of them having somebody come to their factory, and they're all clapping and cheering for him. And I'm like, this seems staged, Like, I don't think I want to, I think I'll get back to you. The price sounded great, but it's too good to be true. It might be too good to be true. You never know. You hear a lot of crazy stories. I mean, I would ask people, what do you think? Should I do it? But they've never shipped from, China or anywhere else. They don't even have their own business. And they're like, oh, you hear all these stories. I'm like, yeah, but they're just stories. Sometimes you got to just do your research, build a relationship with these people, and just, ask them for videos, ask them for pictures, proof. And finally, I felt safe enough. I mean, after all these meetings we had with that guy, there was no way he wasn't legit. He wouldn't be wasting his time, and he knew his product. He knew what he sells. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was talking about. I was like, okay, this is the guy. It was a little pricier than the most, but I was willing to pay that price for the guarantee, for the comfort, for the safety that my product will eventually get here.
I think that's a big deal, Grant. I mean, you want to touch on the quality, quantity.
You can get all your kinks out.
No, that's it.
Let Grant chime in.
No, because you're the one who, knows easily the best and has had the most conversations with manufacturers in general.
Well, I am glad we're talking about it, because a lot of the times people will follow up after an episode and say, hey, taking your advice, I got to tell you, I'm talking to China and I'm not really into it. Their English is bad. I don't like talking to them at 9 o'clock at night. And really, I mean, what's your response to that, Ricardo?
Like you said, there's a language barrier. It's kind of hard for them to communicate with you. But a lot of the meetings I had we had to use they were using like some type of translator to try to, I don't know what they were using. You remember we had a Google Meet meeting with him, and he took a while to read what we were saying. And then,
it became apparent he might have been translating on the fly.
Yeah. So he was just translating, but just do your research. Like I said, I mean, it's just, you gotta.
Can you speak to having, you got to have some gumption. You got to have some balls about it.
That's the thing. You just gotta, like you always told me, I didn't want to. I kept saying, should I? And you're like, dude, just do it already. Take the jump and you won't regret it. I mean, but you just got to make sure. I mean, it's hard to say, I had hey, can you make me a sample? If they can make you samples, send you photos, show you that they're legit, then just take the jump, take the lead. What ifs are never going to get you anywhere.
Scared money don't make money, right?
Like you always told me, scared money don't make money, and you're not going to get anywhere if you just wonder what if. Then you're always going to be wondering what if. It's like that book you told me to read. That's kind of what motivated me too, reading that book. And I was like, yeah, just got to take.
Is that Dr. Seuss?
I think you said
There's a cat in the hat.
that was one of them. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and a couple of other books that you told me to read, and I would use I would listen to them on my way home from work, and I was like, yep, I'm tired of working here, spinning the rat wheels, so I got to take a jump, and I did in my backyard, and then I realized that's not going to happen. So the only way is to outsource them and get them done in big quantities.
So we've covered the conceptualizing the idea, okay, I need to make a safer horse stable. We kind of jumped to it landing here and warehousing here, and then we just backtracked to how you found that manufacturer, right?
Yeah.
So you at one point you hit a realization where okay, can't hire homeboy from a high school to weld these. No. So I have to source this from China and get these here at scale, because you were getting, dozens and dozens of Facebook inquiries.
Yep.
Off the back of this video that you and I shot, you had like 44 DMs in a couple of days.
More than that. I think it was about 100 or so.
Yeah, and people wanting to know, can you ship this to here, to there? And we talked about this. Really, you have to keep this business local. I think you need to run this business locally for at least 3 to 5 years before you branch into like shipping out of state, because we live in LA. We're fortunate in that realm. And despite popular belief, LA is pretty heavy on horse and equine. Yeah. The greater LA area is, right? So I guess I want to ask you, now that we've covered the idea, the manufacturing, the getting it here, what are your biggest hangups now? What's going on up there?
Getting the product. So it's taking some time to get it here.
Yeah.
You know, one of my biggest problems right now, I guess, I've never really been a salesperson. You know, I'm not good at sales. I'm not good at like closing deals, I guess. So I guess you were right. Real estate wouldn't have been my niche, huh? Because I'm not good at closing deals or stuff. I don't know if it's me or if I'm getting the wrong clientele, because they come and they check them out. Or maybe the problem is I don't have the product and they're spooked out. They see that I don't have anything and they just say,
that's a
I'll
huge
let you know.
thing.
That's the majority.
So
of
I'm
it.
hoping that's what it is. Mm-hmm. So that's why I said, you know what, let's put in an order for like 50 units. Bring them in. 50 units is a lot for me.
Yeah.
You know, they're big items, but I know for you guys that's nothing. But if they're big, it's like 50 units is a lot, you know, and it's a big budget to bring them in. So I'm hoping once they're here, I can start closing more deals. I'm having trouble closing deals.
Yeah.
You know, people contact me on Facebook, OfferUp, Instagram almost daily. I get at least one or two. Mm-hmm. Before it was like I would get him like a lot of them a week. Mm-hmm. And out of those, I would get like a few of them to come in and check them out. And once they checked them out, that was it. You know, a few of them wanted to pick them up that same day.
That's the thing.
But I didn't have them. So they couldn't take them. And that was probably the biggest problem. But right now, my biggest problem is closing deals. I can't.
Well, and I feel like as soon as they get in and you have those people coming to see them and they start to sell, that next problem is going to be like, oh, hot damn, I need to make this a 100-unit order and a 150-unit order. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that's the problem.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that once they see them, once I'm getting them in here and I got to start figuring out how to market them better, I think, to the right people. I know me and Grant discussed not long ago. He was like, you know, maybe you're just not getting this to the right people, not getting in the right hands. You know, the people that are coming they think this is a swap meet or something or a yard sale. And they're just like, well, how much if I take 3? I was like, no,
that's not how it works.
This isn't how it works.
Yeah.
I'm a business. I'm not just,
We're not trading truck toppers
here.
here.
I'm not getting rid of my, I'm not getting rid of my stuff here at my house.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well, we'll contact you. We'll let you know. And it's just,
I feel like that's going to go pretty quick for you. I think once you get it in and you have it, I don't think the marketing part, I think you're going to sell pretty damn quick with what you've already got.
I really hope so.
I do. And both Grant and I'm behind him. He's killing it with the Meta and Google ads and the more focused campaigns. And I think for you as well, like once you get down and dirty, it's going to go quick.
Yeah, maybe once I start making more sales, maybe you guys can help me out or lead me in the right direction to who to contact or contract to help me with them marketing and ads. Because
what is for our listeners, yours are big money items, and you've had to come up with money to get this first shipment. Where did you get that money?
I liquidated all my assets. I started all my personal assets. I sold my truck. I sold my other Jeep. I sold my horses. I only have one. No, I have 2 now. And, I just got rid of everything. Everything that was taking money from me and not making me money.
Good for you, man.
That's cool. I
said, fine. What do I need this fancy truck, big old truck? Yeah, it looks cool. I love driving it. Everyone thinks it's cool, and I'm driving around monster truck, and I got my nice Jeep, but for what? It's not making me any money. I could drive a Honda. I'll drive a Honda right now. Gas is expensive anyway. So I started driving a Honda to work. It was better for me anyway.
Hell yeah.
Now I'm rolling around in a Honda Civic, and it's great on gas. It's fine for now. Later
like
I'll be able to purchase another truck.
Once we can all drop our ego for that stuff.
That's what it was.
It is, because we all want fancy, nice things.
I wanted the nice stuff, and that's not making me any money. So in order to do that, I got to get rid of all this, get the funds, and maybe later I can have all those nice things
That's it. The second thing is you can buy 10 of those trucks,
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe the company will buy me one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's dope.
That's the dream.
Well, I love hearing that because
Yeah.
a lot of people ask, where am I going to get money? And they're not willing to give up anything. They're not even willing to give up, their $6 coffee every morning. And now we're talking to a guy who said, screw the truck, screw all these expenditures that aren't necessary to life. Like, you're in your late 20s, right?
No, early 30s.
Oh.
Thank you for that.
When we worked together, you in your late 20s. That's right. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
And yeah, you were able to say, hey, okay, life is long, right? What is 3 years in my early 30s compared to 40 years of prosperity?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of people have to come to the realization is like, hey man, a little bit of sacrifice goes a long way. And I think a lot of men and women will find that around that age 30 mark, you've pretty much worked either a blue collar or white collar job for probably 5-6 years now. You get it. You understand that it's just a big, like you said, a rat wheel, and you're ready for some change. So, hey, if that's you, think about those things you can eliminate and find room for. And you're not eliminating things that would alter your life. Like you don't sell a house so that you can, live in your parents' basement. Like you find the other little things and you make room for it. So good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what it was for me. I was like, all these hours at work, I get up at 5 a.m. just to get to work by 6:30. I'm here all damn day, almost 12 hours shifts. But I'm sitting in traffic every day about 2.5 to 2 hours to get home. I'd get home sometimes if I had the energy enough to go to the gym, go home and go to sleep and do it all over again. I was like, no, I'm not trying to live this life, man.
It's terrible.
And then I had, it's just too much. It's just too much work. I don't want to be slaving away all the time. And
Yeah.
what really motivated me, I'm not gonna say it was really you, man. To be honest, we did the same thing. We were together all those years, riding the same truck together, goofing around, messing around, talking about this dream of ours. And you just one day he comes in, he's like, "I can't do this anymore, man. I'm putting my 2 weeks today." And I was like, "Shut up, man. You ain't doing
County
it.
job, dude.
You're
Come
not
on,
doing it.
fool.
How are you gonna get rid of this job, man?" The benefits, he's like, it's not worth it for me anymore. It's not. I have a family now. I want to have more free time, the financial freedom to do what I want to do, not asking somebody for permission to use the restroom. Has permission to go on vacation, and see if they'll authorize me to go. It's like, it's my life. You only get one life. And it's just like, you got to live it. And one day to the next, Grant just said, I'm putting my 2 weeks. And I was like, be quiet, man. You ain't putting your 2 weeks.
No one does that.
But at the same time, I was really scared. I was like, you're not really leaving, right? Like you're not really gonna leave. He was my only friend there, man. Everyone else was like, old timers.
Yeah.
Been there, and they have their different ways. Grant was the only one I could relate to, and we hung out the whole day at work. It was the only thing that made work enjoyable, having someone you have as a friend. And he was like, "Nope, I'm leaving." And I was like, "Shoot, he's not playing."
Yeah.
He went to the office that day, wrote his two weeks, and never came back.
Yeah, it's tough.
Hey, but you're glad you did it, huh? Look at you now.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely scary, and it's that step you have to take. But the thing is, jobs are a dime a dozen. I know this is a bad time in the economy to say that, but it's still true. Jobs is not the hard part. The business is the hard part, and finding the gumption to start your business and creating stability that people can't take away from you. And one thing I like about your product to that point is it's not trendy, it's not kitschy, it's pretty much going to be recession proof to a point. People are always going to need to store their horses and things like that. So that's it's funny. I joke with my wife all the time, like, well, I'm in cargo straps. Those don't really go out of trend. And that's a good feeling because especially after the, economy collapsed in 2008, stability and structure was like the biggest punch word of the last decade. You're going to be the one creating that own stability for yourself. And then going back to what you said about freedoms and all that. And I know a lot of people hear that and they think it's a joke because it's a double-sided coin. On one hand, yeah, you're getting away from the man and you're not going to have to work and ask to go to the restroom. But on the other hand, you're going to have to do a boatload of work for yourself. You just got to find that thing that you're passionate about to where it doesn't really feel like work. And then work and life blend in this beautiful, harmonious way. And now you can justify things like you said, send yourself on vacation, buy yourself a truck. You know, that all happens within your world that you create with your company. And it doesn't have to be this toxic relationship between you and work.
Yeah.
No, I want to jump real quick. I know that Grant helped you, but we didn't tell the listeners, what did you search for when you were looking for a manufacturer? What specifically stuck out where you're like, I want to approach this manufacturer for my product?
For me, I used, I forgot what the other one's called. What's the other one?
You mean Alibaba?
And then there's another one.
Um,
China something. I forget what the other one is
Okay.
online. But on both of them, you're able to, put your inquiry in. And that's what I did. And I had a bunch of people saying, oh, look, we build skyscrapers.
Okay.
We make the hinges for industrial buildings and this and that. And we build steel structures and we build steps. And I was like, okay, well, can you make this? I sent them over the design. I had someone make me like a 3D drawing, like those CAD drawings or something. And, just talking to a bunch of people, I found one that was already agricultural based. They did like cattle stuff and they did like walkers and things like that. So I saw that they were already kind of, familiar with this type of product. So that was what kind of led me to use them. I thought it would be easier since they kind of have an idea of how it works.
Okay.
The other ones had no clue. I was going to have to deal with them a lot more and be more specific. And then, just having meetings with all these people and, analyzing which one is going to be the best for me. After that, that's when I made my choice after them dealing with me for so long, because I was so scared to take the jump. And yeah, that's why I chose them.
Okay, so you went with the agricultural based one.
Yeah.
And then also you didn't specifically look for like fence manufacturers. You actually put in an inquiry to this website.
Yes.
And then people approached you, we can do this X, Y, and Z.
Yes, you'd be surprised. When you have your own invention, you kind of just throw it on there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it works, but they must have some thing where it comes to them or they just scrolling and they're like, oh, I think I can do that. And they just, we can do that. And I'm like, you guys can do this? I didn't even think you can even do this.
Yeah.
Like just ideas I used to have in the past. Like, I wonder if you can make this. And I just type it in, no pictures, no nothing. And people are like, yeah, we can do it. We can make it. We can show you. We can try it. Like, okay.
They're so willing to try.
Yeah, they'll do anything.
Yeah.
They'll do anything.
Yeah.
Like any idea you guys have, anything you want to do, just do it. It doesn't hurt to ask, get the knowledge, start
But
asking.
you found out quickly that them saying they can do it and them doing it really to U.S. quality standards is two totally different things, right? Yeah. So talk to me about how hard you have to be on your manufacturer about quality throughout the process.
Well, so this is my first time and my first order with them. And the one problem I did have that really set me back, he was showing me the drawings of what was going to be made. Once the drawings were confirmed, then he would start the process. He finished them so fast. I was in shock. I was like, oh yeah, man. So you guys are done? Yep. They're in powder coating. So they're going to be out this week. We'll have them packed and we'll have them shipped in about another 2 weeks. Okay, good. So then I said, can you send me videos and pictures? He's like, sure.
Of your finished product.
Yeah, my finished product.
Right.
And he put the infill. He made it look beautiful, set up. They have like a showroom. They have it all set up. And you could see it, he had it all built. He even put my logos on it. Beautiful work. Then he gets to the door and he shows me these horrifying hinges. It was worse than that guy from high school that I hired to do them in my backyard.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way I'll pay you for this product because I will have to sell it for half the price. I can't sell this product. This is the face of my company, the front door. I can't sell this product. You're going to have to figure this out. You redo them, change them. You can't just take the doors off. They're welded on. You're going to have to redo the fronts. But see, that's the type of relationship I had with him already that he was willing to do that for me. He didn't complain. He said, all right, if you don't like it, we'll start from scratch.
Wow.
I'll do them all over again.
Awesome.
What is it that you want?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I was under the impression you were going to do my prototype. These are I showed you the type of hinges I use, and you just threw on whatever the hell you wanted. You know, this isn't what I asked for. And they were really bad. They were really bad welds. The front door, it just looked really bad. So he said he had to try to find the hinges that I'm using. And that's what really set me back. You know, it took him about a month to find the hinges because it was only a small quantity and it's not what they normally work with. So in order to get a small quantity, they had to get them made for me. And it took about 2 months. And now they were welding them. They were going to do the powder coating all over again, set me back another month and a half. And now I'm waiting 2 more weeks for the shipping and it's finally almost here. But that was one of the issues that I encountered.
Grant, I think you've brought this up in previous episodes, and that this is a great little jump in, how important it is to get something in writing and then to almost have an acknowledgement or them to sign something, because if you have to come back and refer to it like, hey, we talked about this.
That was what it was.
Yeah. And then they're like, no, we didn't. You're like, well, here's what we did. We did talk about this, and there you go.
Yeah, he kind of shot himself in the foot there, that guy, because he said once we confirm the drawings, then we go based off the drawings. So there's there's no mistakes. So he did that, and I was like, well, thank God he did that for me, because I went back and I said, look at these drawings. On these drawings, do you see those plaques that you put on the face of my stable? He's like, well, because this is a drawing.
Like, no,
Doesn't matter.
No. You said it. You actually said it.
Those hinges you have in the drawing look really clean and they look tucked into the door.
Yeah.
I don't see no damn squares on the front of my door. And I'm not gonna sell that product. Dude, I can't sell that product. I'm not gonna sell that product. I'd rather just, you know what, end business here. Either give me my money back or a percentage of it back or whatever it is, but I'm not going any further unless you fix those doors. And he did, you know, and that was the beauty of having that drawing and everything confirmed in writing so that, you know, my money was guaranteed that, you know, the product I was ordering is the product that I'm going to get.
Yeah. Good for you, man, for being hard on them, because I know even myself, I'm the kind of guy that I'm like, let's just get this here. Let's get it going. I'll fix it on the next order. But what you find is you never fix it on the next order, because now you got product coming in and you're selling it, and then you have money coming in and you're addicted to the flow, and you don't want to put a little kink in that chain and disrupt your product flow. So you just keep taking product that you're not quite happy with. I mean, perfection doesn't exist, but getting it right does. Yeah. And you're taking the time to get it right. And I know you're dealing probably with a couple clients here in the US that are like, where the F is my product and all that stuff. But again, good on you for focusing on the product you want, because it has such a lasting butterfly effect. And you'll be so glad. You'll look back in 3 years and be like, I'm so glad I spent the extra 6 months in 2024 to get the product perfect, because that was just laying out such a great runway for success. And everybody that gets my product loves it now. Yeah. Rather than me being nervous and cringing every time I sell it. That
they're gonna notice.
Sucks.
Are they gonna notice?
Yeah, who's gonna call me out? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
$3,000 for this, that type of bull crap. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was tough, but they got it all figured out now.
I think throughout this process, the biggest issue I saw in you, and pretty much in any inventor, is faith that people are gonna want your product. Call it what you want, imposter syndrome, whatever. I had to do metaphorical CPR on you, Ricardo, once every 3 weeks. To this day.
I think I just called you a week or two ago, like, you think it's going to sell, man? You think these people are going to buy it? Because I'm spending. It's scary, man. It's scary.
It's big time
scary. It's really scary. So for all those new people jumping in, it's scary. Don't worry. Well, we've all been there.
Well, that's why you get rich, because you're doing the scared work.
Yeah, I mean, got rid of all my stuff. I mean, there goes my truck. There goes my cars. There goes my lifestyle that I just gave up. And I hope you guys like it, because this is all I have. You know, and hope it works the way I planned it to. And till this day, man, I'm still wondering if people are going to buy it when they get here. Yeah. But I already see it.
That's it.
I already see it. I already see people. That's what kind of, I was like, just think, if I would have had this product a couple months ago when this guy came in and said, I want 70 of them right now, where would I be?
Oof.
You know, 70 at one time. Well, you're talking about a couple $100,000 worth of an order, and he wanted it now. I said, well, I can't get it now. It's going to take me a few months. And he was like, nope, I need it for an event. I need it now. I'm like, Jesus.
Doesn't that suck?
Yeah. Remember that one, Grant?
Yeah.
I called him, and he's like, well, I hate to tell you, Richard, but you're going to have to let this one go. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to let it go.
Dude showed up to his house head to toe in Gucci.
Ready to rock.
Just like, had his assistant with him. Like, where, how soon
But you know
can
what?
deliver?
There are 100 of those guys, and they're ready to rock. And once you have them in stock.
Yeah, he pulled up in a nice diesel dually truck with a trailer already attached. He's like, well, let me take this one. I just want to try it first. Let me try it.
His prototype.
I have big horses. I want to see if my big horses, he likes to kick. I want to see if it's true it won't break. I was like, no, I need this. Dude.
Right.
This is what they come to see. This is my prototype.
But you still have his number, right?
Plus, it has sentimental value. This is the first one I almost died making here in my backyard. So you're not taking this.
Yeah.
I risked my life for this.
Yeah.
Man. You're not taking it.
Oh, man. Well, it's your best salesman.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that goes into a lot of what we need to talk about, which is there's two big things here that you have to focus on. It's your sales funnel. How do you bring the customers in? And then it's your conversion rate. How do you close them? And these are the two things you've never had the luxury of having in tune at any given time, because you either have a really hefty sales funnel going on, i.e. your viral video, bringing you customers more than you can handle, but no product, or the opposite, product, no funnel. So we need to find synergy into your funnel and how you close. But I want to talk really quick about how important a conversion rate is, because you talked to so much about, maybe I'm not that good of a salesman. Personally, and I'm not stroking your ego, but personally, I think you are. I've seen you manipulate human resources and things like of that nature. You're a much more natural-born salesperson than I. I don't consider myself a good salesman, but I don't even want to be a good salesman, because I create systems that are good salesmen. And systems don't require overtime pay, and they don't complain about their lunch break. And a system is very much kind of like what you're doing. You point to your prototype and you say, if you like it, take it. If you don't, sayonara, sucker. Well, you can build a much more sophisticated system, and that is posting once a week on social media to gather interest. And then you point them to a website, which you built and you did a pretty good job on, that looks really professional, with a very clear, quick call to action. If you want this, call me now and we'll get it done. Or if you want this, click the buy now button and we'll get it done. This is 2024. People want really clear pathways to buying things. Yeah. Remember, they're used to Amazon buy it now button. And then delivery on the product. You're going to get it in 3 to 5 days, right? That is a proper funnel where you're going to see a high conversion rate. You don't need to be a good salesman if you're running them through that funnel. It will just happen naturally while you sleep, man. That's the beauty of it. So you're doing the right things. You're getting the product right. You've built the website. You have your Instagram. It's kind of sleeping, ready to go. You even have like 7 more videos that we shot you that you haven't even posted yet.
And more that we haven't even got to. Remember you said we have tons of content we can make out of what we filmed. And that was kind of what we focused on. What you're saying now is to get the point across of my videos so that when they already watched it, they already know what they're buying. Yeah. They're not coming here still asking questions, you know? The problem I think I'm having is you're right. Everything is now, click now, buy it and ship it. But with the amount of money that this stuff costs, it's hard to find a payment processing company that isn't going to take so much money out of it, you know? So I don't have a payment processing company so that they can click and buy on my website. So that's one thing I'm working with now. I'm calling payment processing companies and trying to negotiate the rates, because they want to take like 15, 20%. But when these deals are like $100,000,
it's a lot of money.
They're taking a lot of money from doing nothing. So I'm trying to negotiate those rates. So that's why right now I don't have a one-stop shop. They actually have to physically come in or write a check, you know, old
just
school way.
It just sounds janky. I mean, we sell on Shopify. Our rate is 2.9%. You know, for like a credit card transaction or a debit, any type of transaction fee is 2.9%. What, you built your website on Wix, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have some integrated
I don't
processing.
think the Wix. I'm not sure if the Wix one does. So here, this is what maybe you guys will tell me better. I'm scared because I keep hearing these stories when I read reviews on the payment processing companies. They're talking about how people have gone out of business because of their refund and return policies. That if they request a refund or return, it goes to the payment processing company. And then if there's some kind of discretion there, they freeze your account. They don't let you get the money. I don't really know how that all works.
You're just getting swallowed into a pit of bullshit that you just need to completely bypass altogether.
You think so? So they don't keep your money or nothing? It goes directly to your account?
I've never heard of any such thing. I mean, I'm sure people trying to save a buck create their own website without payment processing, then try to implement third-party payment processing through some back-end HTML code jankiness. Like, we're not sponsored by Shopify. We could give a shit about Shopify, but we use it and it works because you list a product, you put a price, the transaction happens. The transaction happens. Customers understand it, they respect it, and it happens. We pay the 2.9% fee happily because all I have to do is focus on my job. I'm not thinking about refund, return. I don't even know what you're talking about, but I got swallowed into plenty of fear-mongering Reddits and articles about things that could happen to you in business. It's just people justifying their big F up, which is they didn't, get the proper platform set up in the beginning. Yeah, that's all it is.
Right. Maybe you're right. I haven't jumped there.
Yeah, I want to touch on that real quick and you talking about conversion rate and you talking about closing the deal, right? So I'm in the midst of about to do a big push and do a big Facebook ads push. I'm going to be spending a good amount of money and more money than I'm normally comfortable with, but not close to as scared because I'm watching Grant do it right now, right? But the big thing I'm learning is my website is good. It's good enough. My website is not awesome. And I am also about to spend more money than I normally would have to make it a better converting website. And what does that even mean? People go, I have a thing you can click now and you can buy my product. But from what I've been learning and how important it is, that if that's not in the right place and people lose interest before they even get to that, or, it's just not as dumb easy as you want it to be, you're going to lose somebody. Yeah. And it boils down to such simple, silly little things like, oh, it's white text on a whatever color background is hard to read, so people lose interest. And there are people who know exactly what the hell they're doing, and they'll do tests with that, which I'm about to go through, and I'm going to keep sharing that with with our listeners. But I said, Grant, this is a lot of damn money. This is like $4,000 that I'm about to spend on a Shopify website with 4 pages. I'm like,
to be clear, you pay $30-$50 a month for Shopify.
Yep.
You built a store yourself.
I did.
But to optimize it, you're now investing in a third-party optimizer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some badass guy who's like, this is what I do and this is why I do it. And I'm like, I can't even wrap my head around paying $4,000 for this simple little website. That's more than most people spend on an entire website, blah, blah, blah. I had my oh crap moment. I had this is so much damn money moment. I can't believe how much it's going to cost me to make this money back moment. And then I talked to Grant, and Grant's like, let's do the math. If they make your website it was something stupid, like 0.25% better converting, he goes, in 10 days, you will make back that money in sales.
Yeah.
And that's what we all have to remember. We want to go cheap, and in your mind, we've learned to find the deal. We've learned hey, I can go on Fiverr. I can find a guy for $200 or $500, or let's say even an obnoxious $1,000 to go in and clean up my website. And but if they don't really know, if they don't know that putting the buy now button, 2 steps further up is what's going to make 5 more people buy my product that day or whatever it may be, then it doesn't matter. So conversion and closing the deal, that is a big deal. And just we're big believers in just get it going, get your website up. Then you can blow some money, but don't be afraid. I'm in that mode right now, and I can really see how spending the money is going to make me so much more money.
Have you done it yet, or
I'm in the process. I just hired the guy. I just said, yeah, go ahead. And the first thing that they're going to do, it's going to take a few weeks for them to go through my whole website, clean it all up, change some images, whether it's this image of a person using it versus this image of a person showing it, like that kind of stuff, They'll do A/B testing. They're even doing something which is pretty cool called heat mapping. And it's this back-end software. I don't exactly know, exactly how it works, but what it'll do is they will get to watch a video of somebody going to my website actively, and where do they focus on? It heat maps like the cursor, what button gets hit, and what that tells them instantly is, oh, they're not going here because of this, or they seem to be really focused on this picture. They love this picture, so let's do more of these type of pictures. So yeah, it's
that's cool. I didn't know they do that.
And I didn't either. And I also wouldn't have ever spent the money, 5 weeks ago on anything like this. I'm like, hell no, that's so much damn money. Yeah. But guess what? Spending this money is gonna effing kill it for me. Make you money. And that's it. And you can have I know I'm getting a little wordy, but the whole point is that, you've got the guy who's doing the ad sales, who's going to be doing my ad sales, said it does me no good to focus a crap ton of awesome traffic to a website that's not going to close the deal. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point of this and talking about you closing the deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to get my website ready to rock. So when he sends somebody there, they're like, pow, pow, pow. This makes sense. I get it. I'm buying it. And that's the conversion. That's converting the person going to my website, converting them into somebody who bought something.
And here's how much money that translates to. I did some dirty math while you were talking.
Yeah.
Pretty average website traffic is 1,000 visitors a day. Let's say Ricardo builds the website and he does an okay job. It converts at 2%. And let's say Marcus builds the exact same website selling the exact same product. Marcus does a little bit better job and it converts at 3%. 1% difference in conversion rate. At 2%, with 1,000 visitors a day, you'd get 20 orders. With 1,000 visitors a day at 3%, you would get 30 orders. Let's say you're selling a $100 product. That's an extra $3,000, that's an extra $1,000 in sales a day. That's an extra $30,000 in sales a month because of a 1% better converting website. That website is incredibly important. The average conversion rate on my website rides right around a 1.7 to 2%, right? If I was to find a way to increase that to just 2.25%, I would see a significant monthly and yearly increase in sales. So those steps are crucial. And that's why I told Marcus, don't skimp. This guy's charging $4,000, pay it. Get it done, get it over with. Yep. Because you'll pay back that $4,000 in 2 weeks, man.
Yeah. And with Fiverr, which I do love for a lot of things, the communication is so hard sometimes. This is kind of talking about you're hating to wait and wasting time, but how important it is. It's the same thing. I'm going back on Fiverr. It might take me a week or 2 weeks just to get my point across of what I want. I'm paying good money for a person who gets it and who's ready to rock it. And in 3 weeks, I am going to have my website ready. And in another 2 weeks or whatever, I will have paid back all this stuff that I'm sitting here all week being like, I shouldn't do this. And this is dumb. It's the mindset's dumb, not the act of spending that money. Yeah.
How did you guys find these people? You guys didn't use Fiverr. You're saying you went through something else, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Networking is something that happens naturally when you put yourself out there. It's part of the magic that happens. And it doesn't come easy, and I get why you're asking it. It's not something that just naturally comes to you. But over the years of being in business I've been in business almost 4 years now, people find your website, they see your ads, and then they hit you up and they say, well, we can do this even better than you're doing, or we can sell you this software. And 90% of it, you just have to push away and say, no, no, no. But some of it kind of clicks. And that's when I'll call a Craig or a Cydio Craig and be like, hey, dudes, you guys ever done this? And they're like, yeah, it's a go or it's a no, which is why we do the podcast, trying to provide that platform for a lot of people. And so that's how we find it typically nowadays. But anybody just getting into this, just simply Google and, be leery. I freaking hate Google because everything is pay to play. But, Google website optimization and ads management companies, things of that nature. The more one-stop shop they are, the more they're going to charge, the more you're probably paying too much than you should. You get better at finding people that are niche, but don't be too scared because it's not a big deal to hire a company. And after 2 months, you can feel that energy's off. Maybe they're kind of taking advantage of you. Just drop them like a bad habit and move on to the next one. Yeah, you got to kiss some frogs. You might lose some money along the way, but you're going to learn valuable lessons.
That resonates. It was like you and your manufacturer. You ask questions. You were unsure about that person. They gave you examples. If they're not willing to give you examples or references or whatever it is, then you move on, right? But you're like, okay, this person's willing to work. Our Amazon guy actually reached out to Grant, and Alfonso, what stood him apart is he made a video, and he's like, hey, this is what I see on your website. Whether you hire me or not, these are some things that I see could be changed and would change, and that's it. Right. So he took the time to reach out,
gave us value.
He's a good guy. We had a meeting with him already too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
To see if we can actually get my product on Amazon due to the weight capacity. But he said it's something that maybe can be done, maybe in the future.
But he's a kid. The point is finding somebody, those people, like he reached out. He gave these examples. He was very clear, very simple. And he's like even offering you like, hey, whether you take me or not, these are some things you can do. And then you're like, okay, I like that. And those things make sense. And I can see where your head's at. You're looking for clear and understandable communication with who it is. Do they make you feel safe? Are they trying to fool you full of a bunch of garbage? And a lot of times it's trial and error. Not to say he and I have not just all of a sudden picked the right people and then it worked great. There were plenty of people that were like, but you'll know soon enough.
Yeah. I think that's going to be my next thing. Yeah. I need to get someone to work on either my marketing or my website or something, because I get tons of traffic on my website, surprisingly, and I didn't even know how, because I don't even promote my website. Maybe people are just typing in horse stables on Google and my site must be coming up because I get those little Wix notifications every day that people are on my site.
Yeah.
And they're even from all over the world. So it's kind of crazy to see that.
Do you see how much traffic it is exactly?
No, I don't know. I'd have to look into it. I've never really checked.
I'd be interested to know. That stands out to me as wildly important because you have what is called a high search ranking topic of a website, right? Marcus knows when he's not pushing his website, same with mine. 0 visitors a day, literally.
Like a week, I'll probably get I'm saying like at least maybe one a day or one every other day. People go on my website and I'm like, who the heck is going on my website? I haven't even posted my website.
Right.
Or where are they getting it from?
Right.
Maybe my Instagram? Maybe it's still that video's going around.
Some
or
of it's
something.
probably also I also get a lot of like, hey, we've looked at your website and we can help you optimize it. Like there are a lot of things like this, but once you start getting into it.
Only one person has contacted me like
Oh, really? Okay.
Only one company has contacted me like that, and they sent me a message. But I didn't proceed. It seemed kind of like you said. It was like,
SEO optimizers.
It's just a big company trying to, get some money. But I didn't really go with it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking to do that because I would like for people to see my website and purchase it.
Yeah.
That would eliminate me having to do all these sales and having them come and see it, all that stuff. But sometimes I actually prefer it because I don't want them to get the product and be like, well, this isn't what I saw in the pictures. I want them to come see it, feel it, see the value. I think with these things, you kind of have to, come and kick it a little bit. Come and see it. See how sturdy it is. Yeah. Shake it, rattle it.
But
see if it's going to work for you.
Let's talk about where do you want to be 10 years from now? Do you really want to be showing people one at a time in 10 years? Where do you want to be?
I'd rather have a place where, my own spot where I have them at.
Showroom, maybe?
Like a showroom. I know we talked about that, and like my own warehouse. Maybe have someone there that, hey, we have a showing, go show it. I don't want to have to do it. Right now you got to start somewhere, but
of course,
eventually I would like for someone else to run the whole thing. And
that's what I would like for it is I picture the same way people buy RVs, modular homes, whatever. You want to check them out, come down, just talk to the receptionist. She'll hook you up with a salesperson. They'll show you our 6 different models. And then you can sit down and talk about how we can get them to your door in 4 or 5 days, free delivery. You can wrap that into the price. And I don't want to see Ricardo ever peddling these things. I want to see you walking from office to office with your hands behind your back, twirling your thumbs, making sure everybody's doing their job.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah, and then hiring yourself a little CEO and saying, hey, man, I'm the owner. I'm not the operator. Like, you run this place. I'm going on vacation.
Yeah.
I think that's a great 10-year mark for you.
That would be great.
That's very doable, too.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see as soon as these things get here, man.
Yeah. Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
Is there any other burning questions or things that just feel like a roadblock to you right now?
Pretty much all of those were like the sales and getting them sold, and people are gonna want them. My website, the marketing, and I'm not too great with social media too. So
Nobody
I know
is
you guys.
now.
Yeah, but
always
you
see-
got one, you're saying that, but your one video has outperformed all of my videos for 2 years. You just have to remember that. Don't worry about that.
Well, thanks to this guy, the actor
which
here,
is
man,
great.
This guy's good.
Which is the whole. But the point is, I don't think you have to worry about it. I think the second it all comes in, it's gonna flow.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yep.
Well, cool, man. Let's go get some lunch, huh?
I
I'm
like
hungry.
it. Me too.
All right. Let's wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for listening. This has been episode 33, wrong button, of the Invent With Me podcast. If you're listening, follow the platform on whatever... if you're listening, follow the show on whatever platform you may be on. And if you're on YouTube, certainly subscribe. Listen, guys, Marcus, Ricardo, and I are taking the punches so that you don't have to. Take advantage of that, and we'll see you on the next one.